If you let the fact that you're not yet perfect, and you probably never will be, if you let the fact that you are not perfect get in the way of what you're doing right now, you're not doing the best work that you can possibly do right now. You suffer, your company suffers, your prospects and your customers suffer, their prospects and customers suffer. And so nobody wins. My name's Jeff Bajorek, and my career in sales has been a hell of a ride. And I want to bring you along with me. If you prefer to sell things at a premium, if you never want to win a deal on price, rethink the way you sell. Welcome back to the show. My name's Jeff Bajorek. I'm your host, and I'm here to help you rethink the way you sell. Today, as I record this, is Sunday. It's the day after my birthday. I am a year older. I don't feel a year older. And it is yet to be determined if I am any wiser, but I share that with you because I want to let you in a little bit here. I'm behind on my production schedule. Period. End. And I'm behind on my production schedule because I'm overthinking things. And I want to talk today about how perfect is the enemy of really good. And when it comes to your methods, when it comes to the way that you sell, you are going to be tempted to do things as well as you can possibly do them. And I'm going to tell you that that's probably not the best way. Now, that sounds weird, right? Oh, wait a second, Jeff. Are you saying I should mail it in? Are you saying that I shouldn't put any thought into this? Are you saying that I shouldn't put a ton of effort into this? Are you saying that my best is actually wrong? No. What I'm saying is your best right now is what you need to go with. And if you are really concerned that it's not perfect and that is holding you back, well, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Now, you got to recognize that your best tomorrow is going to be better than your best today. Your best today is better than it was yesterday. And the truth of that, if we carry this out a little bit further, you are going to be better in the future than you are right now. You should be anyway. But if you're penalizing yourself for not being that good right now, you're getting in your own way. And I realized I just talked in a big circle, and let me just see if I can sum that up. The beauty of just sitting behind this microphone and in front of this camera and just letting it rip is that sometimes my thinking is done out loud and you get to witness it. And every once in a while, it's pretty good. So what I want to express to you is that perfect is some place where you're headed. It is the direction you are headed. But if you let the fact that you're not yet perfect, and you probably never will be, if you let the fact that you are not perfect get in the way of what you're doing right now, you're not doing the best work that you can possibly do right now. You suffer, your company suffers, your prospects and your customers suffer, their prospects and customers suffer. And so nobody wins. So what I want to remind you of is something I've reminded my customers of and my clients of for years, and that is perfect is often the enemy of really good. And that is a lesson that I'm realizing that I had to tell myself recently, because I'm behind on my production schedule, because every time I'd sit down, I'd say, ooh, but I'm not quite sure about that. And wait, I just don't know. And hey, maybe I can wait a couple of days. Maybe I can wait a couple of days and let this sit, let this idea sit, let these thoughts and concepts sink in a little bit more. And, the fact of the matter is, these concepts were well sunk in as I planned out this season. They were there already. I knew what I wanted to talk about. I knew what I had was good enough. So when it comes time to sit here and do it, to not get to work because I know there's more work to be done, it just doesn't make any sense. So here I am, behind, and here I am doing what I think I'm actually really good at, and that is getting these concepts out. Breaking complex things down into simpler, more digestible thoughts, more digestible actions for you. And as I do this, what's interesting is that good stuff comes out. As I sat down behind on my production schedule, I actually attempted or began recording the episode that you're going to hear next week. And as I sat down to try to bridge this idea of why I was behind and everything, I realized that, wait a second, this little preamble is actually a pretty good lesson in and of itself. And it actually fits in the sequence of the show. You see, that's another aspect of not letting perfection or the lack of perfection get in your way. When you just sit down and do the work, great things happen. When you put yourself in position to discuss these concepts, when you sit down at a team meeting, when you get together with your colleagues, when you just talk, and I do this a lot with my clients, we start talking about selling. That's where salespeople get better. You start talking about selling and good ideas come up, and then you can take action on those ideas. But if you were so concerned that what you were going to talk about wasn't good enough, now you've just halted progress. Think about that with your clients. Think about that with your prospects. You're in a position to talk about what you know that they don't. You're in a position to talk about the point of view that you have that they don't. And the beauty of doing great discovery is that you both might learn something that is going to help you each in the future. Put yourself in that position, start those conversations, do that work, because it's worth it. So, I think back to all the times, and, I can't just, I'm just cycling through my head right now all the times when I would have an orthopedic surgeon doing really good work, and I'm standing there in the operating room with him or her, and they go back and they try to just take just a little bit off over here with this bone cut or whatever it was. And it's like, Doc, hold on, time out. Are you sure you want to do that? Because what you have is really, really good. I think it's time to move on. I think we need to keep going. We don't need to be perfect. This is this is already damn close to perfect. We don't need to bring in the risk of additional work later if this doesn't go as smoothly as you think it can. And so what I want you to think about is your sales calls a little bit differently. Sure, I'm trying to lay something down here that's going to last forever. It's going to be hosted in the ether of the internet for as long as I can imagine. And so I'm thinking, well, if it's going to be here forever, I need to make it really damn perfect. No, the fact of the matter is most of these episodes get forgotten about. Most of these episodes get built upon. I will record episodes like this in the future, there's no question, with the knowledge that I will gain between now and then. And it'll be better then, but it still won't be perfect. So while I have a more permanent project here to do, it's not quite as ethereal as the sales calls that you're on. What I want you to keep in mind is that you're good enough right now to go do the work you need to do. And as a matter of fact, it is putting yourself in position to do that work that makes you get better at that work going forward. So don't let perfection or the illusion of perfection stop you from doing the work that you know you need to do. Be prepared, be mindful, be generous in your sales calls, lean in and do the very best work that you can. But remember that perfection is not something you should be striving for, because perfect is the enemy of really good. So that's what I want to share with you. There's even this buzz in the back of my head right now. Jeff, if you went back and you recorded that again, then maybe it could be a little bit better. No, here's where I am. This is my own lesson. We continue to run into these things throughout our career. That's what shows us that we're growing. That's what shows us that we have grown, because we're constantly running into these new areas of resistance. But it's also the reminder that we're still growing. If you don't have some trepidation that you could be better, then it would mean that you didn't want to get better. And your pursuit of better is what keeps you going. So keep pursuing better, but don't hold yourself back or don't criticize yourself too much because you're not there yet. Just keep doing good work. Keep leaning in. Keep being prepared. Keep being mindful. Keep looking to solve other people's problems on their behalf. And then some of those people they're going to become customers of yours because they value what you do. And, there's probably an angle to be taken here that they value what you do because it's not perfect, but that's probably 10 more minutes that I don't need to ramble on. Brief lesson here today. Maybe you need to listen to this again. Maybe you shouldn't, because it's not perfect. But thank you for being here. And this is stuff that I want you to consider between now and next week. Next week, we're moving into the rules, the principles. I actually had a friend and colleague tell me, I don't want to follow rules. Give me principles. So, well, okay. It's not as clean that way, but we're saying the same thing. But, next week, with next week's episode, we are getting into step 5 to sell like you. And that is know your rules, know your principles. And if you play by the rules, you can do it any way you want. So I'll tell you more about that. Thank you for being here with me. I hope you're back next week as we get into some more of this progression.
Rethink the Way You Sell is a Pod About It production. It's mixed and edited by Doug Branson, with music by Blue Dot Sessions and Doug Branson. This podcast is masterminded by Jeff Bajorek.